Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad to have you with us. We all have the sniffles around here, so I wanted some comfort food, and I decided on sesame chicken. I love it. Now, I have lots of ingredients listed here, but don't be afraid. It's pretty simple. So take a minute and pause and write these ingredients down. And hey, while you're paused, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you click the little bell in the top right corner, then you'll get a notice when I post new videos about twice a week. Now, hey, let's get cooking. I'm going to go over the ingredients in two different batches. This is 3 tablespoons all-purpose flour and 2 tablespoons cornstarch. And I have here a 1/4 tablespoon each of baking soda and baking powder. I just put them in the same little container. I have here 2 tablespoons soy sauce, a tablespoonful of rice wine, 2 tablespoons water, a tablespoonful of vegetable oil, and I'll use a dash of sesame oil, and I have here a pound of chicken thighs cubed. Now, the white wine and the white wine vinegar, these are things that you could leave out. Here's my sesame oil, by the way. I'm just recently discovered sesame oil, and I'm so impressed with the flavor. Oh, and I almost forgot 1 egg. So what we're going to do now is make a sort of combination batter and marinade. And I'm just going to put all the wet ingredients in. And I should mention, I never cook with wine. I just don't generally like wine. But for cooking, but this rice wine vinegar really has a nice flavor, and it helps tenderize the meat. So I'm going to beat this egg up and just put that in there and incorporate it in with the other wet ingredients. And it's going to take a little bit of beating because I should have done this before I put the oil in, but I didn't. So I'll just have to beat it a little bit more. I'll go ahead and put the other oil in now. That was the little dash of sesame oil. And I'm going to beat this until it gets a little bit foamy. And as I do, I'll add in my dry ingredients. That's the cornstarch and the flour. And this particular batter marinade is the same as I'm going to use in sweet and sour chicken when I do that. It really has a good flavor. Truth be told, you can make it with just the cornstarch, the egg, and the flour and the water. But those extra little seasonings do really bring a nice flavor. So, while this takes just a little bit extra time, I do recommend it. I'm going to beat on this a little while because putting the egg and the oil in the wrong order caused a few lumps, and I'll be back. And I got that beaten smooth, and I've put about a 1/4 cup of cornstarch in here, and as I do it, I realize that I didn't put that in the ingredient list, so I'm adding it now. And I'm just going to take these chicken pieces and swish them around a little bit in the cornstarch and then put them directly into the batter. Now, the purpose of this is to help the batter stick. It'll just stick on the chicken better, the batter will. It'll stay on there better if you use a little cornstarch. And then I'm just going to stir it all around and get it covered. And when I get this mixed in well, I'm going to put some plastic wrap over the top of this and refrigerate this chicken. Now, it needs to be refrigerated at least an hour for the marinade to work its magic, but you could do it in the morning for dinner at night. But at least an hour. So now we're going to toast the sesame seeds, and you could do this the day before if you wanted to. And I think you can buy sesame seeds already toasted, but I didn't. So I've just rubbed the tiniest bit of oil in this cast iron skillet, and I've got my heat on low. And this is only going to take a couple minutes. I just spread the sesame seeds out on this low heat, and I'm just going to let them warm through until they start to turn golden. And that only takes about 2 or 3 minutes, but you have to kind of stir it the whole time. If they cook too long, they'll take on a bitter taste. So when you see them start to turn a little darker, a little golden, just take them up and set them aside. And now the sauce. I've got a cup of chicken broth. I have a half cup of brown sugar. I'm using brown sugar substitute, Splenda substitute. Then I have 2 tablespoons of the rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, and I think I got those in different order. I did. Then I have about a teaspoonful of minced garlic, and I have a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Yeah, I used the already minced. I was lazy. And the cornstarch. Now for this cornstarch, I'm also going to need a half cup of water because I'm going to make a slurry with it. So I'm going to meet you at the stove. So I have a 4-year-old sous chef today. I'm going to let you listen. There you go. Stir it and don't knock it over. Stir it carefully. We're adding the brown sugar to the chicken broth. And I'll just add all the other ingredients that I showed you.
I'm doing nice.
I'm going to add some more stuff.
Okay. Ooh, look at that. Thank you. You? Oh, it's gonna be so nice. I need some of my help.
Yeah, this one.
Look, Mama! Ooh. How am I doing, Granny?
Looks like you're doing fine. Just keep it stirring. Keep it moving.
Okay.
You're not stirring.
I'm in.
It's not moving.
Dina, turn the phone off if you're gonna help Granny.
Okay.
Stir.
I will be.
I love you too.
I'm getting better and better.
Is it getting better and better?
Mm-hmm. How does taste work?
Stirring? You stirring?
Mm-hmm. Good helping. I'm a good helper, right?
You are.
And I'm a good cooker too.
Yeah.
And look, these are the ingredients.
Yeah.
That's why you couldn't put in.
Like this.
Okay.
You have to do it real hard, real like that.
Okay.
See if you can do it like that. Now I'm going to add the slurry of the 1/4
Bitter,
cup
bitter.
cornstarch and
They're
the
getting slurry.
half cup water. Let me make sure I got my camera on. Okay. Stirring, 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 stirring.
Oh, it's getting nicer and nicer.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Mama. I love you.
I love you.
I'm a helper.
You are a helper.
Well, here we go. Stirring around.
Stirring around.
You got all your stuff to taste.
And yes, I just took up some of your time with my 4-year-old great-granddaughter, but you know, it's time well spent for me. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Thank you.
Stir. Here, come here.
Thank you. You gonna help me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm big.
I'm going to turn it down real low.
Nice. We still gonna cook?
Yeah, we're cooking. It's cooking.
Okay. 'They're going away. We stop cooking.
No, you have to keep stirring.
Oh, look at that. Oh, it's going to get nummy to me. In my tummy.
Nummy in your tummy.
Yeah. See?
Grandma's going to taste it.
Okay.
You want to taste it?
I'm not sure. Oh!
Oh, it's so good. Let's turn it off. It's done. You did it. You made the sauce all by yourself. Well, I hope you got all that. She's now off with Thomas the tank engine, and we're going to fry some chicken. I've got a good bit of oil in here, and it's vegetable oil, grapeseed oil. And I have it up to about 350 degrees, almost. I always show you how to check it with dropping a drop in, but also, if you can see this, you can check it by seeing if you put a chopstick in or a wooden spoon, it bubbles. So I'm going to show you both ways. That was the chopstick, and if you'll see how it bubbles and rises to the top immediately, you know that your oil is hot enough. Or you could check it with a thermometer. You're going for about 350 degrees. Now I'm going to cook these chicken bits in 2 batches, and I'm using chopsticks. You can use a fork. Actually, there is a reason for using chopsticks, is that it leaves the batter more intact, more fully covering the chicken. But a fork works just fine. So we're just going to drop these in a little at a time. And as I say, it'll take 2 batches, and I'm doing it kind of slowly so as not to lower the temperature. And they really don't have to cook long. By the time I get the last one in, the first one's ready to turn. They cook about that fast. They only need to cook probably 4 minutes altogether. They're so small that's enough, but I'll show you when we get a little further along how to check and make sure that they are done in case you're worried about that. And see, we're getting a nice golden brown. And one reason, too, for only cooking them about 4 minutes is you just don't want them too hard. This is very tender chicken inside. We've got a batter that'll seal that tenderness in. And I'm going to take these off and drain them on a paper towel in a bowl. They're actually too small to use my regular drain. Usually I put them right on a rack, and the rack over the paper towel. But some of these kind of fall through, so I'm just going to put them on a paper towel. See that? And no, you can't hear it. I'm sorry. You can hear the crunch, crunch, crunch as you shake it. And that little thing I'm doing there, that's to get excess oil off. I'm going to leave that one in there. It's a bigger one. And I'm going to show you how to make sure that they're done. And you might want to check one of the bigger ones just to make sure. But see, that one's pretty large. And all I'm going to do is take one of these chopsticks and poke a hole right down through the middle. And I don't see any pink at all. I'm going to flip it over and poke the other side. And if they're not done, you'll get some pink liquid coming up. And these are done all the way through. I have about 2 more minutes on my rice, and we're going to plate this up. I assemble this right on the plate, or you can assemble it on a platter and have people serve themselves, but I'm going to do individual portions. And I don't put it all together ahead of time because I don't want the chicken to get soggy in the sauce. I want it to stay crispy. So first the rice, and then the chicken, and then I'm going to spoon some sauce. I dropped a little crumb there. Spoon some sauce over this, as much or as little as you like. I like to kind of drench it, actually. And I want you to see the texture of that sauce. Now, if you want yours thinner, you can just add a little chicken broth to it. And I heated it back up before putting it on here, and I put about a tablespoonful of chicken broth in then. But if you want yours thinner, you can add a little bit more than that. But this is how we like it, and this is how we get it from the Chinese restaurant, about that consistency. And I'm going to sprinkle on some sesame seeds, probably more than you would get at a restaurant. And if you want to garnish it with some green onion tops, you can surely do that. I happen to be out, or I would have done that. So I'm going to let you see this. I think it's beautiful, and I know it's going to be yummy. So I'm going to grab a bite here and just chow down. And you know, the marinade made this meat so tender, and the batter kept it juicy, and we were careful not to overcook it. It's just perfect. I hope you try it, and I hope you like it as much as we like it. And I hope to see you again on Debbie's Back Porch tomorrow.